friends, I'm going to make a video today on making a heart shaped turquoise ring with a beaded silver border, and I'm going to go through some of the steps on designing it and creating this ring. So sit back and enjoy. Okay, what I've got here is I've made the shape of a heart over here, and this is the different bead border I'll be putting around this ring, and these beads are 0.100 wide. They're 10 gauge, and I'm just trying to get the size of stone I need to cut. I'm thinking this one here in the green would be about the size I would need to cut roughly, and then start polishing down to a size something like this, or maybe go a little bigger with this. I'll just have to see how it looks when I get to that point. Okay, here we are. I've cut a stone out of this here to match the bigger heart we talked about. It's pretty close. Anyway, it's too thick, so I'm gonna get this all prepared here on my hot plate. I'm gonna warm the stone on the side here and let this get soft, and then we're gonna stick it to the back of that stone when we got the stone hot and this hot. Then we're gonna take it over here on this polisher over here, and we're gonna try to bring it down to the right thickness and a little bit better shape. Also try to make the concave shape of it to fit into the bezel. By the way, I cut this stone out on my diamond jigsaw. It's for cutting designs out of stones. I've showed it on some of my other videos. I didn't show the actual cutting of this stone right here because it's over in my other shop. But anyway, we'll get this stuck on there, and then we're going to move over there and try to polish it down some. I'll tell you what, it's 100 grit. I'm going to take this stone down some on it. I've got it stuck good to the dowel rod, so we'll see how this works. Just using a little bit of water coolant. I got this saw from a cowboy out in Fort Davis, Texas. His name's Randy Glover. Randy didn't need it no more. He did a little horse trading on it. It's been pretty good saw. Polisher. I said saw, I mean polisher. Okay, now what we're going to do is try to shape up the sides a little. Okay, what we're going to do is move over to this finer one to try to shape it up a little better without not taking so much meat off of it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the bevel on it to where it'll fit in the bezel right. You gotta be real careful on that crease. You're just rocking it back and forth. Take that edge down. Okay, as you can see, we got a good beveled edge on it. In pretty good shape. We'll check it out closer when we get over to the other shop. Looks like I need to dome this just a little bit on the, it's got a little bit of a flat right there. But I'm gonna put it back on here and dome that. But after that, we'll be ready to make a bezel for it and go on with the project. Okay, I'm back at the studio, and I've got our heart stone here that we cut out at the shop, and I'm going to attempt to put a 3/32 bezel together to fit this stone. What we're going to do is we're going to pull it out here. Okay, we got it to where I want to cut it. Got my big hat in the way, can't see it. Yeah, I marked it with this knife. That's where I want to cut it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it on that line. Put that away in my silver pile. Okay, and then what we're going to do is take some small pliers. We're going to put the ends together here. I don't care about the shape at this point. I just want to get it soldered together. Then I can reform it. What I kind of do is push it past the ends and then pull them back to where they spring together. Now what we'll do is put it over here and we'll solder that together with 75% hard solder. Okay, I've got this set up in my gravel pit with my pliers or tweezers hanging, holding this together upright, and I'm going to take some 75% solder. I've got it fluxed, but I'm going to flux it again here in a minute when I heat it up a little with some fire scale. And I think I can do this with just my little torch. And that's all it takes right there. And we check it to see that it's together good. And I'll take it over here and I'll sand this just a little bit to smooth it out a little better. And then I'll reshape it to the stone. Okay, now I cleaned up that part and I kind of shaped it to the heart, and I'm going to set it over the stone. And I just take this little bezeler and I just kind of push it into the stone, just trying to shape it up to the way the stone is. And that looks like that's going to be about right, like that. So what we'll do next is we'll take some 22 gauge, we'll put this on here, we'll cut out a piece around here with plenty of room around it, and we'll make room for this beaded wire to go around it, and then we'll solder all that together. So I'll show you that step next. Okay, now we're going to solder the bezel down onto the 22 gauge backing. When you get your bezel put together and shaped, I always put it down on some sandpaper and sand the back of it to make sure it's good and flat. We're going to put a little handy flux on it. I'm just centering it up on the piece of silver I got. That's going to give me room to put the beaded border around it and cut back to it. You just want to make sure the silver's all the way around, which we drew it around there with heat. Okay, I've got the beaded border fitted around here in two pieces, two halves, because they just don't bend that tight a turn. So what I'm going to do is set this in here and this in here. Beaded border to me is a lot harder than a roped border, but it's, in my opinion, it makes it a more elegant piece, or a prettier piece, more sparkle. We're just putting the flux around it, and we'll get it all fitted up tight here in a minute. Okay, sometimes when you heat this up, it goes to moving around, the solder boiling out from under it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a couple of clamps on it. And if you're wondering about these clips, I showed how to make them in one of my other videos. Subscribe to the channel and you can find it on my channel. Okay, I hope you can see that. I've got it all clamped down. I'm going to start heating it up and start putting solder on it. Thought that one was coming up a little. I think I got it soldered all the way around. I'm going to cool it off and look at it real good. There we go. We're going to put it in some acid, get it all cleaned up. Then we'll start cutting around the outer edge. Okay, now we've got it out of the acid. It's a lot cleaner. I'm going to take my scroll saw, jeweler saw, and go around the outside edge of the beads. Okay, we got it cut around the beads. We're going to take a blue polishing wheel. It's a silicone wheel. And we're going to clean up a little bit around it. And what I'm doing here is I'm just going in, making all the border more refined and smoother. And I'll also polish any solder off that I find on the beads along the way. So we'll keep doing this. It takes a while. And then what we'll do next is we'll make a band and we'll put our marks on here and solder the band on. Then the last thing we'll do is polish it up real good and set the stone. Okay, what I did here is I cut out a piece for a tapered band. The thick part will be where the setting goes, and then it'll taper down and it'll be joined. I'll solder it together in the back. I've got my maker's mark on here, and I've got it semi-polished on the inside. So we're going to use this ring bender to try to create the ring that we need. I'm going to put a little tape on one side of it. About like that. The other side will be up against this nylon die, so it usually don't bend it up too bad. Okay, we have the inside of the ring towards the die, and we should start kind of working it. Oh, also I might say I've annealed this band annealed it with my torch to make it softer. This is going to be a size 5.5. It's pretty small. And I've cut the length of the band according to the chart, but I added a little extra to make sure I have enough. When I say chart, I mean ring chart. You can find those online, several sites. Tells you how long you need to make a band or a piece of silver for a certain size band. Okay, there we go. And what we'll do is we will check it on our sizer. It should be a little bit big. And I'll come in here and I'll cut it down and bring it on in by hammering it on my ring awl. Okay, I've got this ring put together. I've got it fluxed, and I'm going to solder it together with hard solder. And then after I get that done, I'll reshape it on the awl. I've got it a little egg shape right now to hold it together, but I think it's going to fit the size just right after we polish it all up. So anyway, that's what we're going to do next, is solder the band together. Okay, we've got a good solder on it. We'll take it over here, put it in the acid, clean it up, reshape it on the awl, and we're getting close to be able to put the setting on it. Okay, what we're going to do now, I've got this band. You can see I've got it all cleaned up the way I wanted it, where I soldered it back together. I've got it the right size, other than it's just a hair small. And when I get through polishing it, it'll be just right. So what I did is I sanded a little flat spot here on the top to give me a little more contact area for the soldering to the setting. And I've got this setting down in the lava rock. We've got it right here. We're going to put some flux on it. The most important thing is to get this setting straight with your ring or your setting. You don't want them to have it on their finger and the heart sitting crooked or something. So you want to take your time to get this done. Okay, now I think I got it just right, so I'm going to try to solder it down. You want to cool it off as soon as possible to make sure you don't let have any other parts come off of it. We got a real good solder job on it. We've got lots of solder underneath it, so it's going to hold good. And as far as I can tell, it's centered up real well. So I think our job's done on that. Now for the acid bath, get it all cleaned up, and we'll give it a final polish. We'll check the size a final time, and then we'll set the stone. And we'll be done with this one. Okay, y'all. Got this out of the acid bath and cleaned up pretty well. And what we're going to do next, or what I did next, I didn't show this, but I went in and I put a little bit of a leaf design on the sides of the band right there. Something simple, but just to break down that wide part of the band to where it don't look like just a plain silver band. So I got a little bit of a bright cut leaf design there. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to polish it up a little bit, and then we're going to give it a little bit of a treatment. We're going to go over it with this pink bristle polisher. I think this is a 600 grit. I believe that's what the pink is. And we're going to go over it just a little bit. These are real good. They go inside the band. Clean all that up. And we're going to go around here, clean these beads up. There we go. Now we're going to switch to a tan, which is an extra fine. This one here. Same thing. I'm going to hit the sides here. That brightens it up pretty well. Then we have one more finer grit here, which is a green, and it's super fine. It shines it up pretty well. Okay, that's got that pretty well polished. And what I'm going to do is the last couple of things, I'm going to run over it with some compound. I'm going to put a mask on for this. Okay. I'm going to touch this a little bit. I'm going to hit the band. Nothing like compound to make it shine. I'm going to switch wheels here. And I'm going to go with some white compound. Okay. Now sometimes some people will want to go with Zam after that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and spray some purple power on it, and that will take off all the leftover polishing compound. It's let me get it over here just a minute. I don't have much light over here at the sink, but I'm going to show you. I use this purple power. See if you can see that. Anyway, it's purple power. It's a degreaser. And I'm going to use a toothbrush. And I'm going to just generously, let's put it that way, spray it on here. Like that. And I'm going to just scrub it down good. You want to make sure you don't have a hole in your sink where you can drop this down in it. Mine's thankfully, you can't make it past it. So if I drop it, it's not going to disappear on me, which I have been known to drop them. Anyway, we're going to use this on here real good. Then we're going to rinse that off. And what we're trying to do is get that leftover compound off of it. Now, Dawn dish soap is one of the best cleaners you can use. I learned that in spur making from Wilson Kepler, but it will get it real clean too. But the purple power is what you need to cut that compound. But after that, you want to trim it out with the Dawn. Get it scrubbed real good. And then it will be spick and span clean after this. Okay, there we go. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to oxidize it. And I'm just going to pour some of this Midas Black Max into this little cup. Like so. Some people use the sulfur mix, but I like this stuff here. It's your preference. And I'm just going to put this in here. And that will oxidize it. And what we're going to do here in a second is we're going to get it out of here, and we're going to put it in the baking soda mix right here. Baking soda and water. It's got about a tablespoon of baking soda and about a cup of water, maybe a little over a cup. And we're going to take it out of here. You can see how it's oxidized nice. We're going to put it down in here. That will neutralize the acid. And we're going to set it right here to drain. We're doing this before we set the stone. You can see how it's nice and oxidized. Okay. We'll get that dried off here. We'll go over there and rinse that baking soda off of it, and then we'll move to the next step. Okay, I got some Zam here. I'm going to do some final polishing on it. Okay. We've got it, I don't know how much y'all can see that, but we've got it polished real nice. We've got the oxidation down in between the beads. That's real important to make the beads stand out like singular beads. It makes it a real pretty ring that way. So now we're going to set the stone in it. This one has a real flat setting on it. I usually put a little sawdust under here to pad the stone if there's any unevenness, but this one does not have that. It's real flat. So we're going to take it and see if it'll go down in here. There we go. Okay, now we're going to take our setter. I've taped the bottom side of this so I don't score up the beads when I'm going along. And I just roll this along the edges like that. This is how I do it. There may be other techniques, I'm sure there is. This has worked for me. It always makes the bezel lay down pretty even without any kinks, because you can rotate it around those corners. Like that. Okay, there we go. And then I have a little burnisher here. It's actually made out of a leather tool. And I just go along and I make sure I have everything down good and flat, where there's no hang-me's. Give it a final buff here. And there's our ring. It won't go on my finger. This is a 5.5, but that's somewhat what it will look like right there. And I hope you can see that good. I know the light's not too good, but anyway, I'll put a picture of it at the end of the video. I really appreciate my subscribers. At the time of this video, I'm getting real close to 1,000 subscribers, and I didn't ever dream I would get 200 subscribers, so I really appreciate it. I love doing these videos. I don't always get the time I need to do a bunch of them, but I'm trying to slowly add videos, and I appreciate all your subscribers out there, and to like and share my videos with other people. I hope you learned something from them. Thanks a lot. See you later.